Welcome everyone for our premiere episode of the Bloodoak Duchy live stream. I'm your host for the night, Nazem. We have with us Delethris, Robert Brunel, Raz, and Borne. We'll get to them in just a minute. I realize the sound was a little bit choppy coming in. That's because I'm still on AOL dial-up, apparently. So just bear with us, and we'll get through it. Around the table, Borne, how you doing, man? It's been a while.
Not bad. Happy to be back. Nice to be back on the BBC again. But things have been going well.
Raz, what about yourself? What have you been up to?
Not much. We just kind of through the last couple days with our group went through our official launch. Kind of just catch up with this stream, so it's been good and exciting.
Very good, very good. Rob, how have you been? You got the same hat on you were on the BBC with last time. How's it going?
The last two times. I've done it twice.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is third time.
I almost couldn't fit you in there. It's good.
Doing pretty well. We've been, especially the last couple weeks, finally getting some new updates and stuff going.
Very good, very good. D, mic check, sound off. Can we hear you?
Yep. I'm here. I'm on my laptop, and I'm happy to be a guest rather than the host as usual, and seeing what you guys come up with.
All right, very good. So this is our premiere episode for the Bloodoak Duchy live stream. This is similar to the BBC in that we're going to be doing this once every 2 weeks. Thursday, same time, same place. We look forward to providing the COE community quality content on a consistent, reliable basis. And we hope to showcase some of what the Bloodoak Duchy is doing. Its many initiatives that it has, its counts and guild leaders and mayors and barons and all the fun stuff that we're doing in Bloodoak. With the BBC, we don't get an opportunity to make our rounds within our own duchy and help those guys get their message out there. So that's what we hope to do with this stream. I think D has some information for us for the state of the duchy. Do you, D?
Yeah, I thought that it might be kind of like good on our inaugural live stream just to do a brief little recap. Don't want to get into it too much. I'm obviously very, very thrilled with our community. It's I'm loving the way that that the individual sub-communities have basically taken the initiative without lots of input from me to build their own sub-communities, and each one kind of like has its own flavor. From that point of view, as the Duke of Bloodoak, I kind of like run the duchy much like I run the kingdom as a whole. And that is to allow as much autonomy as possible to the counts and countesses, not again because I'm a lazy bastard, which I guess could rightfully be accused of me, but because you all kind of like have kind of like paid, whether it's with money, whether it's with time invested, etc., into your own sub communities, and you have your own way of how you want to play the game. And to me, as long as the way that you're playing the game works for your sub communities, and at the same time is helpful to the duchy and by extent, for the entire kingdom of Boardwalk, then it's kind of like it's a win-win situation. And I think that large diversity within Bloodoak that we have is our strength. I mean, it's very, very strong for us. I mean, I'm still, we've got 4 days before the main and settlement selection starts. And, just today I was contacted by 3 counts that are wanting to join us. And, quite a number of mayors and everything that are kind of like, trickling in at the last moment going, D, I'm a mayor, but, what do I do? The main and settlement selection is just around the corner. So it's been very busy for me behind the scenes here. I believe the duchy to be very, very strong. We have around about 30 counts that had been our plan from the get-go was to have basically one count and two NPC counties for each count. With the relatively recent addition of the news of the reverse auction of purchasing counties, it's kind of like changed that up a little bit, because instead of our kind of like pledged counts and countesses expanding into NPC counties, it looks like a number of them might be bought up during reverse auction. So we'll see how that's going to come along. But I think generally speaking, we're set and ready for domain and settlement selection. I will, if I get my rig back up and running on Monday as planned, be live streaming the kingdom selection and going over the map and pointing stuff out for you guys, and showing you basically where our home is, right? And we'll also be putting together a map for that. And our counts will be doing a final county selection exercise where we will determine where the counts go before the count tiers open up. And I presume that they in turn will hold mini selections with their mayors and barons as to which settlements they're going to take off. But it's exciting. I do want to emphasize what Noz had said a little bit earlier, and that is that this is a community live stream. This isn't about anything other than basically Bloodoak. This is for you guys to come on, showcase yourselves, talk, chat, hang out, ask us questions. Ask questions about the Duchy and things like that. And obviously, we'll touch on any relevant COE information as well. But I think that wraps up what I had to say. Noz, unless you have any other questions or anybody else.
Yeah, I distinctly heard you say that you're going to be streaming your kingdom selection live on the BBC. Is that breaking news here?
It is my plan. My motherboard went out on my main computer. Another one is being FedExed to me right now. Thank you. And I'm hoping that fixes the problem, that everything will be up and running on Monday in time for the stream on Tuesday. If it's not, we'll still kind of stream it, but I'll have to stream you or give you screenshots or something like that, right? Of what's going on and what's happening, and we'll have to kind of like cobble it together. But that's what my plan is for the next BBC on Tuesday.
Very good, very good. So I'm getting some feedback from Rob, I believe. I'm just going to mute you for a minute, Rob. Just wave at me when you want to talk again. No, but so this stream is going to be specifically for Bloodoak. It's different than what we've typically done with the BBC because, we have a lot going on. The Bloodoak is 4 duchies now, D. I mean, 4 duchies, that's a lot. And so one of them has been designated as the Protectorate Duchy of Bloodoak. Yeah. Which I will be the Duke of. And another one is the Bloodthorn Syndicate. Now, the Protectorate has been an idea that we've been tossing around for, well over a year now. And so, a lot of people kind of understand what we're doing there. What we had hoped to do was present a framework for other duchies that had ambitious counts that wanted to, reach over into NPC territory and conquer additional lands. And we wanted to present a working model for other duchies to grow without breaking up their own duchy structure. This is a way that you can grow and still be the same duchy under the same umbrella, but have individual dukes managing different areas of that domain as it grows. So this is an idea that we're, experimenting with, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it successful. So I can't speak for the rest of Bloodoak, but I'm pretty sure we're all working together on the same team here. But with the Syndicate, that's a fairly new thing. Rob, you want me to unmute you so you can chime in on the Syndicate and see what those guys are doing there? There you go, buddy.
Hello. Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay. Yeah. We have our Discord available for people to join at this point. We're working on getting a lot of documentation and paperwork finished up, and hopefully, with any luck, get a lot of that pushed out here this weekend, maybe. I'll have to check with Ironside on that because he's doing a lot of that end of stuff. But here in the next week or two, at the latest, we intend to have a lot of documentation, posts, things like that, officially published for the Bloodthorn Syndicate.
So specifically, what is it? I mean, what is the goal? What are the intentions for the Bloodthorn Syndicate? I understand it as an entire duchy worth of land feeding into the monster of the Brunel Shipwrights Company and what you're doing down there, and that's that's the way I understand it. But can you explain it any better, or how well is that fleshed out?
It's not just being used for Brunel Shipwrights. It'll be used for the intent is to be pushing a lot of production resources, things like that, into a funnel position to aid the shipwrights endeavor. Not just us, but we will be helping manage that.
And where does Raz come into that? I know he's a part of what y'all are doing there as well. Raz, where do you fit into that picture?
That it sort of just came about organically. I belong to a group that's trying to eventually leave the starting continent, and that made us a perfect sort of partner for Brunel specifically. And then when the syndicate came to be as a thing, we were asked to take a look and see if that would fit our goals, and it does from sort of every aspect in terms of building up production so that when we leave, we have enough resources, and not only that, but aiding in the research and construction of the ships to begin with. Very much aligns with our goals, so it was kind of a no-brainer to join the syndicate and put our power behind it.
Borne, you have any thoughts on the syndicate and what Raz is doing there? I mean, I know this was kind of foreign to you. You hadn't heard much about it, but I think that's a lot of people in the community. It's a fairly new concept for them, wrapping their head around what it is we're trying to do.
Yeah, no, I really like the syndicates and the initiative of it and what it means for the kingdom in terms of developing our fleet and our navy capabilities, because in the long run, as Dee's spoken many times, like exploring and finding new continents and stuff like that, especially since we know other kingdoms are pooling a lot of their own resources into that same development. The Bloodthorn Syndicate keeps us competitive in that aspect by putting so much of our own resources and land into that development as well. So I think it's a great initiative and a great group. And I know that I've looked up on Raz over the last week in his group, and I think that it's a perfect fit for him. I mean, exploring the sea definitely fits with the Brunel Shipwright Company, so it's definitely a good fit.
Dee had said in chat here that the reverse auction system has us rethinking how we're going about creating it. Do you have plans for how you're going to deal with that? Are you trying to bring in additional mayors and count specifically for that initiative now? With the 3 that you mentioned that you got contacting you today, there's I've gotten it as well. There's a lot of people reaching out last minute. I don't think there's going to be no shortage of people that want to come in and help with any initiative, let alone one that ambitious.
Yeah, we've had several points on it, I guess. We've had a number of counts and mayors that actually say, hey, we want to be a part of the syndicate. This is exactly, what we want to be doing. I have a countess who said, I want my county to be all forests and to basically do forestry and help and combine and contribute to the overall effort. And this is something that I really, really want to stress, and sorry if I kind of segue just a little bit here, but we're very, very much about finding out what sub-communities want to do and then finding the best fit for them. And in this respect, I think Raz and his Wild Home group are like a perfect example, because it's, my understanding was, and I think I first started chatting with Raz even before we were a kingdom, perhaps, and we were just a duchy. And it was like, oh, yeah, we're not going to commit because we're kind of like, we're like a group of almost like rangers, and our goal isn't really to be a part of a community because we want to get the fuck off the first kingdom, off the first continent, and onto the next, onto the new kingdoms and settle there. And for me, instead of just, there are two ways you can look at that, right? Oh, well, that's somebody we're going to be losing, so let's kind of like, yeah, if you want to be with us, fine. If you don't want to be with us, fine, see ya. But you can look at it from a totally different perspective and say, wow, these are people that have a clear ambition and a clear goal of what it is they want to be doing. How can we help them achieve their goals while at the same time they're helping achieve the goals of the duchy and the kingdom? And so who is going to be more motivated to having the syndicate be successful than people who are going to directly benefit from that? Obviously, the Brunel Shipwrights Company that is going to be around, but also the group that is wanting to be leaving the continent as soon as possible. They're going to do everything that they can to help make the venture successful so that their own goals are realized as swiftly as possible. And this is how to me, it's a brilliant example of how we kind of like match goals of the individuals and subgroups with the goals of the duchy and of the kingdom, and it's great. It's like, if there are people out there I love people with ambition. It's rather than, we're not about kind of like, oh wow, I don't want ambitious people because maybe they want the duchy, maybe they want the kingdom or whatever. On the contrary, if you're ambitious and it's ambitious to where we can fulfill your goals. Let's say you want to be a king. Let's say you want to be a monarch, right? And you have a community and you have ideas and plans for it. Come to us about it. Come to me about it. Gosh, those first kingdoms on the new continent, they're going to need monarchs. I'd love to have people that are interested in being there and allied with them, and the resources that are going to be exclusive to the new continent, etc. It's about us as a community, right? It's not about just, oh, how much land can we grab? It's about how can we have fun helping each other, that in turn gives us each more fun on our own individual level. I'll shut up because I could go on about it for ages.
Anybody else have anything to add to that? I can't imagine you do, but go ahead, fire away.
I have a little very much agree with D on that. When we did start talking to him, that was a huge concern of ours. Was our goal was to leave and not be sovereign to anyone but ourselves. Like, we were on our own. We just wanted to kind of get off, and let me say get off the continent. Let me not stop there. The idea was to get off the continent, be on our own, not be under anyone's rule. And so when we went to him, we were very much like that, where we didn't want that to happen. And that was my favorite thing about this kingdom, and D specifically, is he wasn't looking to be a king for any sort of control over anyone. He was looking to be king because he was in a position to provide that for an entire community and build a successful community out of it.
No, I agree, and I subscribe to his idea of. I'm gonna have to turn you down again, Rob. Can you turn your volume down just a little bit? I subscribe to his idea of putting people in positions that they're passionate about, and that was the idea behind a group of organizations we put together. We call them PCOs, Protectorate Civic Organizations, and we have 4 that we're going to be running for the Protectorate Duchy of Bloodoak. In that, people that are passionate about certain areas of gameplay, be it producers, suppliers, explorers, champions, there's going to be an organization a Duchy supported organization that has people, in those positions to help any player in the Duchy that's having a need or an interest in that particular gameplay. You're having a supply issue. There's a guy for that. Go talk to him. We employ him for that. So and when we're looking for people for those, we're looking for people that are specifically interested in that particular area of gameplay. That's what they're passionate about. And I think if you put good people in positions of leadership or in charge of initiatives that are passionate about, they have a passion about what they're pursuing. That's the way to go. That's the best bet there. So I agree with that 100%. Anybody else have any other initiatives out there that they want to shine a spotlight on? Anybody know anything going on that's cool lately that I might not be aware of? That's impossible, but let's see what you guys got. I don't know. We'll see. Anybody? Borne's got nothing going on in Novigrad. Well,
I would like to say one thing about Wild Homes. We first met just kind of briefly, introduction, things like that, and I think Alice approached me at one point through the Shipwrights of Illyria Association was our first contact, I think, and our relationship grew from there. Big thing for us though was actually doing the plague event together, and that was really awesome because the Wild Homes and the Brunel Shipwrights, we worked together as a team, and I think we did pretty darn well as a team.
We did. We very much did.
So going through that, I feel a lot more comfortable working with them, even more so in the future.
It was a good dry run, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of good runs, Borne, you have been on a good run lately with Novigrad. I think there's about 6 different types of Bornes in the chat right now. There's a Mayor Borne, there's a King Borne, a few others, I don't know, maybe. What are your secrets, man? How are you snagging all these people that are passionate about this game and involved in what we're doing? I mean, there's got to be a cookie cutter somewhere that you're using to stamp all these people out.
Honestly, God, for Novigrad's been amazing, and we just put a huge emphasis on maintaining a community mindset, right? Like we're all there for each other. Like even for COE, yes, it's based on individuality in terms of assessing up the ranks or gaining influence, but we really believe that playing as a community will benefit us a lot more, and we try and maintain that mindset amongst all our members. And I've had the luck of meeting, like you said, like amazing people outside of COE from when I used to play Life is Feudal, which actually founded the core group of Novigrad. We joined with about 50 people from that game under me. And I was equally lucky when I joined Boardwall and I met amazing people that just love interacting in the Discords and stuff. And one of the big things is I always emphasize to my members is anyone can recruit. It's not just up to me or mayors, right? Citizens who have the time and who like to interact with people in Discord. It could be something as simple as answering questions or helping direct people to the right media if they're looking for something. It really, really helps bring people to our community. A lot of my members just trust and know that I care about the well-being of our community more than I do myself. Like I'll sacrifice all the sleep in the world if they need it, or if it's required for whatever game we're playing. Like Atlas, for example, that was awful. And even things like a crest, for example, for your for a community, even having something as simple as a crest has drawn people to our county. I've had a dozen people join Novigrad just because they liked our crest. And that's something that I didn't even pay for, actually. GoHab was the one who hired Mel to get that done for us. Just another thing that my community's done for Novigrad that's helped us grow. So, I mean, I've been truly blessed with all these amazing people I've met that are flooding the chat with nonsense. In terms of future plans for Novigrad, well, everyone knows within the kingdom, for the most part, that we plan on being a PvP county. That being said, we have a lot of players who are dedicated to PvE, and since it's essential to support the PvPers and such, we plan on maintaining an aggressive stance on our surroundings. Given that we're on the board of the kingdom, we can't allow too many shenanigans, especially since, based on what D showed to the world during the BBC stream, he plans on placing directly beside us, meaning that we really have to be on guard. Otherwise, some bad stuff could happen from other places. We want to be as economically successful as we are on the battlefield with our crafting and trading. With over 100 people, we have at least one person or two people in most of the PvE categories for Novigrad, so we're looking pretty good on that side right now. I mean, there's always room for more, especially when you have multiple counties, right? But our rules and stuff like that are pretty simple for Novigrad. It's basically just don't be a dick and pay your taxes. Like, basically mirrors the kingdom's rules, right? We try and accommodate people, we try and be nice, but we need people to be nice and also be respectful of others.
Two of the hardest things
Pretty
to
much
do.
it. Yeah.
Raz,
pretty much it,
what's
man.
your future plans for Wildhome? Let's go full circle.
We're pretty transparent about what our future plans are. But in terms of before that happens, I do have a mayor package, so we will be placing a town within the syndicate county. Not the county, the duchy, as well as a very sort of smaller specific syndicate county. So we are aiming to start recruiting people not only for Wildhome that want to leave the continent, but we're looking to also look for settlers for our eventual settlement. People that don't even have to want to leave in the end. They are free to stay. Everything that gets built up there is going to have to go on without Wildhome being there. But we're also looking for people that want to be part of Wildhome, but just support from the initial continent. That is certainly okay with us. We're sort of outlining what a lot of those things are at the moment. We kind of rushed into our official launch with this coming up. So a little of that is a work in progress. So we'll hopefully get there within the next couple of weeks and have everything ready to go by the time we get to pick our settlement.
Any particular type other than the people that want to get the hell off the main continent? Any other type of criteria you're looking for in membership there? I mean, we're all recruiting, so what are you guys specifically looking for?
That's some of what we need to lay out about specifically what we want to go for. We're sort of outlining first what we're going to need for a base level of sustaining ourselves as a settlement. But in terms of the type of player, we are definitely looking for people that are interested in exploring the area around them, that are interested in survival mechanics, especially those that want to leave the initial continent, and that are okay with risk. Doing this is going to be a huge risk, especially considering, yes, we are looking for people okay dying at sea. That is very likely going to happen to a lot of us, maybe more than once. So definitely be ready to take some risks.
Rob, what are you guys looking for currently in Brunel? What are you actively recruiting for? What are you hoping to attract to your initiative and what you're doing?
Recruitment for Brunel itself, really anybody who's interested in contributing to shipwrights in any way, because our belief is that the actual shipwrights itself is going to require a lot of different types of professions, different parts, different everything that will be thrown together to make this work. So if you are interested in shipwrights at all, come to us. We will find a place no matter what it is you like doing.
Somebody said you're also looking for people willing to die at sea.
We do have a few people who are interested in testing our ships and risking the initial tests. So, if that's something you want to do as well,
so
we do need beta testers for the ships.
You build me a boat, and if I take it out to open ocean and I survive, I can buy it. Is that the deal?
I don't know. We'll have to work out the arrangements later.
Good deal. Good deal. So, for the Protectorate Duchy of Bloodoak, like I mentioned earlier, we're Bloodoak is 4 duchies. There's a Protectorate. There's pretty much one that's being used as the Bloodthorn Syndicate, and there's the Grand Royal Duchy of Bloodoak. But we're all under the same house. We're under the same banner, and we're all working together on making our community awesome and competitive. We still like to think of ourselves as the underdog, even though we're 4 duchies. But I have no doubt we're going to produce an amazing product. And Borne's leaning in real close like that, get me all excited. But specifically for the Protectorate, and what we're looking for is, we're looking for mayors. I have several counts that were previous mayors of mine. And they're, Petraeus is in chat talking earlier. But we have a couple of other counts that are looking for mayors. Petraeus is doing great, but there's a couple of our other counts that are still fairly new at recruiting and looking for mayors. So, if you're looking for a home, we have plenty of open spots. Petraeus is still there. Good job. I have been in the past very standoffish, very picky about the mayors that I bring on personally. I always require them to have, all this crazy stuff, recruitment posts and all this silly stuff. I'm not being picky anymore because we have plenty of room. So I was concerned initially that I wouldn't be able to support more than a certain number of mayors. And that's no longer the case. So as a leader, I never, I'm not going to say anything about what I was just thinking in my head, but as a leader, I don't particularly, promise more to my community than I can deliver. So you guys know where I'm going was going with that. But so I always try to set the expectations of my community, and I never promise more than I know I'm capable of delivering. I pushed a lot of mayors away, but they're coming back around now. Hey, you got room for me now? Absolutely. So that's what we're looking for. If you guys need a home, I'll put my looking for homeless mayor sign up in the chat. You've seen that before, that meme. It's great. But, most importantly, as we're coming full circle here, I want to get to D, because D has been busy recruiting his ass off for this kingdom, and he's built a duchy that his counts have done an amazing job of building. And I'm not going to let him take credit for that, because the counts of Bloodoak is what's made it so successful. We have such an amazing group of counts in the Duchy of Bloodoak that have worked their ass off at recruiting people and bringing people into the community. And it's not because D's the monarch and he's also the Duke of the Grand Duchy. It's those counts going out like Borne, busting his ass and helping people with images, and it's that sort of thing that's built this community up as awesome as it is. But D has neglected his own county and his own capital settlement, and I'm interested in knowing, sir, what you're planning on doing recruiting for that now that domain and settlement selection is upon us.
Yeah, it's
giving it no thought.
My initial plans have kind of like been somewhat fucked over by the reverse auction system. So it's I'm looking at things a little bit differently now. I wouldn't say we're scrambling for mayors and barons. We have again, as I am with our dukes on a kingdom level and our counts and countesses on a duchy level, so I am with my mayors and barons on my own royal county level. And I have some absolutely amazing mayors and mayoresses and barons and baronesses. We're going to be building a citadel. There's an orphanage that's going up. I think we have about 11 mayors and barons right now. And given that I might not be able to expand into NPC counties the way that I was expecting to, the initial goal was to place my double county down and leave some buffer room for me to take those NPC counties, during KOE or exposition, etc. I can't afford to leave those counties open now, because if we get a random count or countess place in there that close to the kingdom capital, who knows if it might not be kind of like a shill for another kingdom where they can kind of like stage an attack right from the very heartland. So I'm having to rethink things. I'm blessed just as I am, and I fully agree with you that it's our counts and countesses' individual efforts that have made Bloodoak a success, not mine. And likewise, it has been with my mayors and mayoresses and barons and baronesses. They it's kind of like it's in a way it's mixed blessings, right, to be in Bloodoak, because you get autonomy, but you have to know what to do with it, right? You have to basically almost be self-driven, because as somebody who is I'm obviously going to be mayor of my own town and count of my own counties and duke of the duchy and monarch of our kingdom. There is so much that's on my plate. It's almost unbelievable. And so basically everybody that is a part of this community has my thanks and my gratitude for being as active and as enthusiastic and as passionate and having their goals as they are, because I can't do it. I can't do it all. I'm human, and I do have my limitations. And something I wanted to touch on that Borne had said a little bit earlier is just the amazing community that we have. And I want to go back to this because it was Katie had that GoFundMe for her laptop, and it was primarily people. Katie's obviously in Bloodoak, and understandably, this is not kind of like throwing shade on anybody else, but it was understandably a lot of people in Bloodoak stepped up and helped out, and it's more than just a kind of like a community that's interested in, where does our county go and where does this go, but we're kind of like we're a large kind of like happy and yet dysfunctional family. That's how I see it, and it's brilliant the way that it's working out. I'm so enjoying kind of like watching the community evolve and build, and we really don't have as much in place right now as what we're going to have down the road. I want to be able to put in place almost like a community directory of what people do in real life. There was a guild leader of a 6,000 strong guild that I spoke to a couple of years ago in person, and we were chatting, and he has things like, they'll have people like, there's a dentist, and he says, well, anybody who can make it to my dental practice, I'll do the work on them for free, and if there's cost for dentures or, whatever, hardware, you guys just cover the cost of that. And it's about being as I say, it's more than just kind of like lines on the map kind of thing. I'll stop there because I start rambling and getting passionate about our community, but it really is an amazing one. I'm so proud to be a part of it, not necessarily even the leader of it, but a part of it.
Yeah, and apparently I'm the uncle that likes to take your kids to a strip club. I do, and here's the reason why. It's because down here in New Orleans, it's so damn hot. The strip clubs are the only places that are air conditioned, so I do sneak off into them occasionally just to cool off a bit, not to get heated up like you would, but no, I agree, D, and I think that is already organically starting. Without your directory, we've had people that have given me Mardi Gras ball tickets, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but a ticket to a big Mardi Gras ball is like $400 a ticket, and I've been given 2 of them so far. just from people from this community, because they they are awesome and they reach out to one another and they like to have a good time. But I speaking of having a good time, I think Rob has some information about some sort of convention or something coming up that he's been pushing for. Rob, what is that?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a good segue into the Gen Con plans that we're hoping to do. A few of us were talking about meeting up at Gen Con, people who are already attending. So we got an announcement post up in the Kingdom Discord. Just a quick sign up sheet for just trying to get names and an idea of what days people might be available. See if we can arrange something in the future. So if that's something you're interested in doing or already planning on attending, definitely put your name in there so that we can start putting plans together. And that's for Gen Con in Indianapolis, Indiana.
What is Gen Con?
1st through 4th.
Pretend I'm an idiot. What is Gen Con?
Gen Con is the largest tabletop convention in America. With, I want to say like 30,000 people or something that in attendance or something. But I'm going to be there and I'm dressing up. It'll be fun.
No doubt.
Raz might go there. We're trying to talk him into it.
I've actually had some people in my community as well that have been asking me if I'm going to go because they might be interested in going. So I hope you get a good turnout there. I've got too much going on at home. I can't be traveling all over the country right now. But and I'm a huge tabletop fan, mostly in Steam. Oh, Katie there in the Discord got us playing tabletop games on Tabletop Simulator, but that's my experience with tabletop. I stop right there. So,
yeah, it's not just tabletop games. There's card games, board games. They even have some stuff with video games and things like that. So it's more than just tabletop, but it originated as a tabletop convention.
And Katie says she's getting married. She don't have time for that. I think you're going to have a good turnout. I've heard people rumbling about it. So, Borny, are you going?
To Gen Con? Probably not. No, unfortunately, I'll be extremely busy. Army sucks, and my volatile schedule doesn't leave me much time to go out without planning like a year ahead, especially with my current position. So, no go for me.
Absolutely. Well, D, we're coming up on the 45-minute mark. I know you like to get out at around 45 minutes.
Hey, this is your show. You can run it for as long or as short.
You're the monarch, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. So no. Into the future, I'm not the permanent host of this. This is for all of Bloodoak. We're putting this together. For anyone that wants to come on here. Rob, if you message me and say, hey, I want to do a Bloodoak stream featuring this, blah blah blah, I'll host. Absolutely, man, that is what we're looking for. We're looking for the individual members of Bloodoak that have initiatives that they want to get the word out on, to come in, and it's not that difficult. We're not like inexpensive fancy movie studio here. We're just talking about something we're passionate about, and anybody can do that. So anybody that wants to do that, they're more than welcome to. This particular premiere episode number 1, it's all about Bloodoak. In the future, we'll talk about SBS updates. We had a lot to cover with a lot of what we're doing in Bloodoak on this particular episode, but in the future we will touch on SBS updates, wrap-ups for domain settlement selection, that sort of thing. But we wanted to talk about just us tonight. So, and I think we did that rather successfully. Does anybody else have anything else they wanted to discuss, hit on?
Yep. If anybody in the amongst the viewers wants to run a quick question by us before we go, take it now. Or
I just see Spaceballs and Go Navy and a bunch of Canadian shit. I don't know.
Warborn
Ah.
AIDS.
Oh yeah. I do have something that I'd like to ask though. Just generally, basically. So Navigai is currently trying to host a D&D 5e campaigns on Tabletop Sim. If there's anyone that's in the community that's interested in DMing, could you please message me? That'd be awesome. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Grumpy, I don't think we can give an update on the title trade in, but I know that works now because I don't know about trading it in, but I've transferred titles successfully since the latest patch. I know that. Transferred a couple county packages and that worked. Bundled it up and transferred it. Everything worked fine. Had no issues there. But as far as the trade in, I don't know. Do you got anything on that?
No, I think Katie's asking me, without doubt, what is the most important thing you'll consider for domain and settlement selection, and I'm presuming that's aimed at me, but obviously we know which kingdom we're going to be picking, unless there's some last minute shenanigans by one of the other monarchs, and we know which duchies we want. Within those duchies, I kind of want to place on that Torres-Meran border. But where in there, I don't know. I'm still hoping and speculating that on that map end that it's that big, huge inlet between the Neran and Torres biomes, and that there will be islands in that inlet. And I think that would be a fun place to kind of to start a capital city out at, and a citadel overlooking it, etc. But yeah.
I'm hearing that a new farming DJ came out just now. Is that?
Yeah. It came out about 40 minutes ago. It shows new assets for plants and trees.
Holy shit.
Single tree, sorry. You got some sweet purple carrots and everything.
That's the first design journal we've gotten in what? I don't know.
Dev journal.
Design journal is what it says in the title.
It's under the dev journals forum. Weird.
Well, it's both.
So they do have design journals and dev journals. So what's the distinguishing factor between the two? Who fucking knows? But
That's why they called it.
Wow, that's good. So it just came out and it's already got 2 pages of comments on it. Very good. I have to give that a read. In the meantime, I'm gonna take it down because it's blinding. But we appreciate each and every one of you guys coming out tonight. It's a lot to pile 5 people in here. We appreciate all the people that came and supported us in chat. I got stuff to do, so I'm gonna bounce out of here real soon. If y'all don't have anything else, yeah.
Also appreciate everybody who decided to wait on Avengers.
Yeah.
Watched it.
True that.
We missed Malara. We were gonna have Malara here, but he went to the Avengers movie tonight. It was real important. So I give him shit, but I couldn't get out of the episode without giving him shit. Come on. But yeah. So, but yeah. In closing, if anybody wants to come on here, that's a part of Bloodoak that has an initiative they want to let the community know about. They want to talk about Theorycraft in the future. All that shit's been, kind of pushed off on the BBC because, it has its own agenda and its own timeline, and, things are scheduled way in advance sometimes. But we're just going to talk about, the shit that we're doing and the ideas that we have and, what we want to try and pursue here as a community, along with some of the recent shenanigans and updates and fun that SBS gives us. So if you're interested in any of that, let us know. Other than that, I appreciate you guys' time and look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Have a
Take
great
care, everyone.
Take care.
Take care, everybody. And again, if you have ambitions, talk to your mayor or your baron or your count or countess, or if you're a count, come to me about it. We'll get you sorted out and happy. Take care, everybody, and thanks for being here.